Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. Today, I'm going to be talking about a dry bag or a waterproof bag. Uh, it has a lot of applications for just general purpose camping. It's got some organizational purposes, and then from the bug out perspective, bugging out is camping in real life. You kind of have to do it. So this is one of the many dry bags that I keep inside of my bug out bags, or when I go camping with the scouts, or my I'm getting ready to set up a assault pack, and so I'll be using a lot of dry bags for that as well. This one is a nice bright orange. I've got 7 or 8 of these in a bunch of different colors. So if you're looking at it more from the bugging out perspective, you might not want bright colors for it. But from the organizational standpoint, like this one is a 5 liter, and I have this one specifically set up for my essentials, for wearing and things like that. But it allows you to color code as well. So, one of the main purposes, or the biggest purpose of having a dry bag, is in the name. It keeps your stuff dry. If you don't have a pack cover and it starts raining, the stuff that you keep inside of a dry bag is going to stay relatively dry. The army made a dry bag that fits almost perfectly inside the entire ruck, and you basically put everything inside of it, and it's one of the first things that you ditch when it's a 99% chance that there's not going to be rain, or you ditch it anyway and you only put your essentials inside of a very small one. So like I said, this one is a 5 liter, and the way that I have this set up is for the stuff that, if it's raining and, miserable, I'll be, a bit okay. So the first thing I have in here, and I keep it close to the top, is 2 pairs of socks. I keep 2 pairs of socks because I'm getting ready to make a video talking about footwear again. But most of the combat boots that I wear, unless they are the Oakley ones that I have, which even then I kind of go back and forth because I haven't kind of figured out exactly what I want. I typically double sock anyway because my feet sweat a lot, and I use a lot of foot powder, but my feet still create a lot of moisture. So I keep 2 pairs of socks inside the bag. That way, I'll keep 4 to 6 pairs of socks in a compression sack that's not really water proof. It's kind of water resistant, but if I need to change things out because my feet are the main, moving part, then I know I'll always have, a set that, my feet will stay dry. Oh, dropping it. The next thing I got inside of my stuff sack is 2 pairs of underwear. Uh, it's one of those things that, you start to get that swamp butt, that monkey butt, and you are not a very happy camper. And it does impede your hiking, your rucking, you're moving from objective to objective because, you start to get that rash and things just get, pretty miserable out there. And, you can ranger roll your stuff. It takes up a little less space. And as I'm pulling stuff out, this pair lost its ranger roll ability. And then I'm not going to pull it out because it fits very perfectly down in the bottom of the stuff sack. But it's a long sleeve shirt that's been ranger rolled. And I just switched out some of my stuff because it's starting to get colder again in the summer months. And when it is stupid hot in Texas, then I would put a short sleeve shirt in the bag. But we're getting our first real cold front on Thursday. Super excited because it's going to get down to like 55, at night, and the days are going to be like 71 or something. It's so much better than the 105 average that we had this summer. And so I also keep foot powder inside of here. I don't really have to because the container itself is pretty water resistant. But stuffed inside of one of these pairs of socks, I also keep, my bug out cash. I'm fairly young, so I can't just keep a bunch of money hidden inside the pack. But it's a good idea to keep cash on hand as well, and it's a nice hiding spot to hide it in a pair of socks. Uh, as I get older and have more money that I can just set aside and not worry about it, then I I say a good average is a few $100s. You want to be able to, pay for food, pay for a hotel, get gas if the internet's down and you can't use cards, to get you away from wherever you're going to be at. Other things that stay in here is extra batteries for, like my flashlight. I keep 2 extra batteries inside of here. If you don't have a waterproof container for, first aid supplies, they can be kept inside of a dry sack. My tent that I carry with me, that's a 2-person tent for me and my family. I took it out of its original, camping, little duffel bag, and I put it inside of, I believe everything fit inside of a 10-liter stuffed sack. Except for the poles. I don't care if the poles get wet. I just more care about the fabric of it getting wet. If you have a map that is not waterproof, good idea to keep inside of a stuff sack. Something else useful to keep inside of the stuff sack is some sort of, fire starting, because, even a lighter, if it gets super wet, it's difficult to use. But like I was saying, I don't really have it set up for my stuff, but the other good thing about a stuff sack, and it's got its clip loop, is you tie a piece of paracord to it, throw it over a tree, tie it off, and your stuff sack now turns into a bear bag or a critter bag. So I'm not gonna do it with my big 48-ounce Nalgene. I typically do it with a little 14-ounce one that I have, but you should have one water source that is used to put smellable items in. So, not going to use it for the big one, but you use it for the little 14 one. That's going to attract animals, so you want to, hang it up, and so it's out of sight, out of mind. Something that I've thought about doing is creating a bug out kit within a bug out kit. So you take a small stuff sack like this, you throw your Sawyer Mini in it, a pocket knife, fire starting, maybe a little bit of clothes, a little bit of food. And when you go to bed at night, this is hanging up, 20, 30 feet up in a tree, and I wouldn't use a high visible highlighter orange one for that. But if something ever happened where, your gear is compromised or anything like that, because it could be from other people, it could be from other animals. You've got your plan C option. Your plan A option should be to bug in, where you've got your thousands of dollars of supplies and your months and years worth of food and your nice permanent shelter. Plan B is the pack that goes on your back. Plan C is living out of, your little fancy hobo sack. So there's a wide range of things that you can put inside of your different dry bags. And I just think it's also super useful. Like my sleeping bag goes inside of a compression sack, and then it goes inside of, I think, like a 7-liter, maybe a 6-liter dry bag. That way the thing that's supposed to keep me warm at night I'm not crawling inside of a wet sleeping bag. And it adds very minimal weight. And if you're doing your training, you don't really recognize the weight. It's a nice comfort to know that you're adding more weight to your pack to make your stuff, stay dry, that you can use it in its perfect condition. And then a huge part of it is just the organization. I've seen people in scouts, I've seen people in the army, I've seen just friends going on regular camping trips that they can have all the things that you need, but it is a 20-minute hunt to find it, and then 10 minutes to put everything back inside of their pack. Um, I remember one time a friend of mine in the army was looking for one thing, couldn't find it, and it ended up just being, I'm going to dump the entire pack out, shake it out, spread everything out to look for, one item. When you put everything inside of a dry bag, especially doing different colors, it's a nice piece of organization. I know in this dry bag is all of my hygiene stuff. I know in this dry bag is clothes. This dry bag has food. This dry bag has, whatever. Which I didn't really mention it when I was talking about the bear bag stuff, but generally your deodorant and toothpaste also needs to go up in the air because it's a smellable item. They do make, deodorant that's basically just an odor blocker. It doesn't add any smell to it. That you could get away from doing that. But like, I'm gonna go grab something. Now y'all got me going down a rabbit hole. But if you enjoy these rabbit holes, hit the like button and subscribe button and send your friends and family my way. This is made by Sea to Summit. They make a ton of awesome stuff. Not sponsored by them, channel's too small for any of that. But I love their products, and I'd vouch for a lot of their stuff. This bottle I've had for quite a long time. I've got it down to about here. But if you fill up the cap, so this is super concentrated stuff. This one cap will, make a foamy, soap with up to 10 liters. So if I filled up 2 of these bags, 10 liters of soapy water for washing dishes, washing your hair, washing your body. It's also got citronella in it, so it helps keep the insects away. This is one of those things that you stick inside the dry bag because it does have a smell to it, but super useful. You can use it for just about anything and everything outdoors, camping, bugging out, any of that stuff. You need 1 3-ounce bottle, and they make it at 3 ounces because this is the size container you can take on a plane. And this would be used for a family of 4 for weeks. But any type of hygiene products, these are things that are going to go inside of your dry bags. I haven't found a dry bag that is just absolutely terrible. I've bought dry bags from REI. I've bought dry bags from Walmart. Like this one is the outdoor products from Walmart, and I've had no leak issues with this one. And I think this one was like $5 or $6. They're super inexpensive. They're super lightweight, and it's just one of those things that the only real negative to a dry bag is they do add just that little bit of extra weight. And when things add more weight, if you are not adequately training, then you're going to end up, suffering, because every ounce added to your stuff is another ounce that, you've got to hoof on your back. That's why you should do a lot of training with your stuff. If, the weight is just too much when you're training, then maybe that's telling you that you should lighten your load. If the weight's good, then maybe you could increase your weight a little bit. And you're never going to find out about any of that if you don't actively go out and train with your equipment. So this weekend, I'm planning a huge work weekend, and all of this stuff is going to go out with me so that, some stuff I have new that I need to use and kind of, work out its place in the bag, figure out, the new weight for stuff that I've added. I train with a ruck that is 55 pounds, which is way more than my bug out bag. I think my bug out bag the last time I weighed it was 41 pounds. But I overtrain so that when it is time to go do all the fun stuff, I am ready to, make it happen. So, all that being said, what do y'all use dry bags for? What are other items that you would add to the dry bag? And with that, catch you in the next one.